What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, and that's the one, the only Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
I just noticed my lighting was getting weird. Please let me know if that's flicking. I have no idea why.
Really? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Looks good on my end. Oh, dude.
I think it's stable now.
I'm losing this here. I'm going to do this. Let me see if this does this. I think I've lost this. I've lost this in the stream somehow.
Uh-oh.
There, we're back.
Oh,
we're back.
I saw that for a moment. We're good.
Weird. Yeah, welcome to PCs. Or at least mine. Yo, dude, we got a good show today where people can join us every day, Monday to Friday, noon Eastern. Complications at all over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg, as well as youtube.com/theofficialitg. But if you can't join us live, it is up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, today's show, Nintendo showed off over 10 minutes of the new gameplay for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We're going to break that down a little bit, man. There's lots going on in there. Nintendo has also extended the deadline for Wii U and the 3DS eShop, and more bad news for E3.
Yeah, it just keeps piling on.
It just keeps getting worse, doesn't it? At this point, how much longer is that conference going to survive? I think that's the will it survive? I just don't think it's got it in it, man, to make it anywhere. But I guess time shall tell all tales. Scott, let's get into it. We checked it out. It's Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 10 minutes-ish, a little bit more gameplay. Thoughts, Scott? What are you thinking?
Well, I see two different opinions playing out online, and one is this seems an awful lot like Breath of the Wild. Like almost as if it were a DLC or a follow-up, an immediate follow-up, which pretty sure it is immediate follow-up. But regardless, I see a lot of people not so happy about that, and some people complaining, calling for the old style of Legend of Zelda in similar ways that people look at Assassin's Creed and go, something's changed, let's go back. So they want that kind of linear, not as open world. They've always been a little bit open, but there's a lot of kind of complaints from people that I think weren't going to be happy regardless. What I saw was amazing to myself. And although I have to shout out to Steve Vagvari, I believe he was the one, there is floating islands in this new version of Hyrule, and they could have been called Skylands, like Skylanders. And that was a very good observation. That was a miss. But in any case, you do have a few new options, new abilities that have come out. There seems to be some interesting ones. One that helps you climb up to these sky lofts, and that'll negate a lot of the climbing that you had to do in Breath of the Wild, which is kind of hit and miss because I liked some of the climbing. So I'm not sure if I appreciate that. But this create a car that we all saw in the trailer, the kind of, is that a Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts driving around a vehicle? Well, it is kind of, because you're putting all these pieces together using the fuse. So these vehicles, these Hyrulean cars, are going to look like whatever you can imagine putting it together. And the most ridiculous use of fuse has to be the sword plus pitchfork. Or was it stick plus pitchfork?
Stick and a pitchfork, yeah.
Well, that was all good and fun, and then he puts it on his back, making like a 40-foot tower into the sky. It was so there's some wackiness there. It's definitely going to be interesting, but weapons still break. That's a negative for me.
It depends on how quickly they break, and it seemed within the game trailer or gameplay, dude, it did not, like, I get it's a branch, so it's not going to last that long, but I was like, yo, 3 hits and he needed a new stick. I was like, damn. Like that's man, that's gonna be frustrating. But I guess if you have swords and other materials that you're using that are a little bit more durable, then it won't be so bad, right? I get it. Like I said, I get it. It's a branch, but at the same time, I know that one never sits well with you, right? The fatigue of the weapons over time. Yeah.
No, it annoyed me back in Fallout New Vegas, and it annoys me now.
Nothing's changed. Scott's still annoyed.
In New Vegas, you're just taking guns and mashing them together to fix it. This is a little more interesting, and then I'll have to combine items to fix things if I'm going to. I've seen a piece of meat on an arrow that you can shoot to, I suppose, to bait enemies around. There's a lot of opportunity for imagination here.
I think that's what I kind of picked up the most, right? So they put a leaf on the arrow, and then they froze it, which then froze the enemy when they shot it at the enemy. That was cool. Like, okay, so there's going to be a lot more, I think, thinking outside the box than what we're normally used to. Here's your fire arrow. Here's your ice arrow. Here's your, like, all those mechanics,
Yeah.
things we've been used to for so long is now of how do we combine this piece with this piece to this piece to then overcome this challenge. And I think that's kind of what we're about to run into here. And then that's what I kind of like about the idea of, man, so many people are going to come up with different creations and go, man, I never thought to try that. So let's try this
Mhm.
now, right? Hey, have you done this? I did it this way. It was kind of when, you know what, we do those, we play a lot of these games, right? Where they have choices, have consequences. And I often go back to Detroit Become Human because at the time there's 3 of us playing this game. And all of us had a different outcome. And it
And your
was,
outcome ruined you.
dude, it was devastating. I was so, I felt like I got the shotgun to the gut. It was one of those, it was, dude, it hurt so bad. But I feel like it's got that kind of mechanic coming into it, not with the story, but with how you play the game. And I think
You're
that's
gonna
the
make it
exciting
your
part.
own, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm always down for making it my own. I want to hear that, hey, did you go do this or did you do that? How did you tackle this? And you kind of get that water cooler moment, as they kind of call it.
Mhm.
Is there any water cooler moments anymore? Like, I don't know. We're just all
When's the
mindless now.
last time you saw a water cooler?
I don't know, dude. It's been a
I
while.
think I was at the
I work
doctor's a
from
couple weeks
home,
ago. Maybe that was it.
right? But it gives us this opportunity. So, what's your thoughts on the fuse mechanic itself? I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's really cool. I think it's going to add to a lot of this, well, player agency. It's already a ginormous, free flowing world. I
Mm-hmm.
was already kind of able to bring my own equipment to the fight, but now
Yeah.
it's going to tweak it even further. This fuse is really, really good because I have the knowledge from past Zelda games. I've been playing them for 25 years now.
Yeah.
So I'll see something and go, ice arrow. That's what I need. And now it becomes a question of, well, how do I get that? And that might introduce a lot more puzzle.
It changes up the mechanic too of the crafting table, right? Like I think that's the cool aspect of it. How many times have we gone in like coming in on The Last of Us? Scott, you're about to find out here. We're reviewing The Last of Us for PC, so just kind of keep that in mind, Scott.
Talk about painful. Oh,
Scott had a yeah,
I'm
build
about
up
an
a
hour and a half in. If you know, you know.
yeah. So, dude, I can't believe that was never spoiled. That's such a highlight for me that to
I
know
can't
that you
wait
didn't
for the
have
next
that.
thing.
Yeah, it was awesome. But in that game, right, you gather up resources and then you take off and you find a crafting table and then you go and you craft your materials that you need. Here, this is like crafting on the fly. You don't need a table at
Mhm.
all. It's just the way you go. I kind of like that. It kind of frees up, gives you more freedom, I guess, to kind of portray the world and go about your business the way you want it to. And the way he was taking out animals, he's talking about my aim's not good anymore, so we're just gonna attach an eyeball to the arrow, and it's just
Oh
like a
yeah,
homing missile and on it, right? I was like, oh
I've
man,
got so many ideas for that. Bombachus, those are the things that run forward,
I
and
just
you put that eyeball on that one. The
yeah.
Master Sword, Evil's Bane. Why don't I put that on the end of a pitchfork? Now
There's
it's way out there.
dude, what is he wearing? What's Link wearing? I was.
Yeah,
Did you notice that? I was like, what is he
bit
got
of
like
a
a
green
toga?
toga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, huh, that's not what we're used to, but I
I'm
wonder if
wondering
there's a
if
story
they'll.
behind it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the story. Maybe he will don the Hyrule Knight armor, just like in Hyrule Warriors.
Okay. Dude, it's such a good game. I like it, even though it runs a little jank, but I still like it. Um, it's it's exciting to me. The bigger question, though, Scott, what are the islands about? Those floating islands? Do you know? Like, what's the purpose? Is that where we get the better material, or how does that play into the story? You
As
think?
in story wise, as far as I know, it's just another place where people have lived. There was at one point a great flood, and the goddess Hyrule. Here's some backstory, some lore for you. The goddess Hyrulia lifted those lands into the sky to save the people. She kind of broke the godly rules and did that. So it's a reason why there's still Hyruleans in the world, but I'm not sure there's going to be much hidden behind these islands.
I
Skyward Sword addresses all of this.
I did not. Did I try playing the HD collection? It did not sit well with me.
Oh yeah, that one hurt me.
Oh,
You didn't like that one. I know
not
there's
at
ugly
all.
kids in every one of them.
Dude, it's some of the ugliest characters I've ever seen in a game. It was rough, but
Which makes me wonder: are we going to see Tingle in this one?
I don't know. So I'm not. That's the funny part for me is Breath of the Wild's kind of where I jumped into the world of Zelda, And then I got
Oh.
into all the Hyrule stuff too, right? And I was like, cool, this Hyrule thing is actually a pretty cool game, and I had a fun there. But I haven't dove like for those like a lot of people are like, yo, we've been there since day one, and we know the lore inside and out. And I'm coming in going, what's all this going on, and what's happening here? And so for me, it's kind of exciting from the outside in, jumping in to try and learn a lot more about the world and what's going on. I know Zelda and Link are beloved characters, obviously from Nintendo, but it's just
Mhm.
never been one of those franchises I've really kind of held on to. Mostly from the old school mechanics of the way the game used to play out. Now that kind of went over this Breath of the Wild style, I was like, yo, I'm in. This looks wild. And I think that's the audience. They think they can pull in the people that are already Zelda fans, but then how do they captivate the new ones like myself and try to pull me in? I think it's
Yeah.
definitely working, right? But can they keep the old school who like you say, Scott, want to go back to more of that where I'm more of like I'm on to Assassin's Creed now, right? More the much
Yeah.
more open world, Valhalla, Odyssey, some of the biggest open world games I've played in a long time, including The Witcher, actually, is another one. So it's one of those,
Mm.
like, all these games are just so massive. Do they keep going that way, or do we see them after Tears of the Kingdom kind of slow that down a little bit, Scott?
I would like to see a split in the series in the same way that they split 2D and 3D, which is still going to this day. But I'd like to see the 3D split into a new and an old school in the same way Assassin's Creed Mirage hopefully brings us back to the past. And I really, really like the old Zeldas. And it's
Mirage.
there's characters that we haven't seen in a long time. If you think Ganon is the bad guy, well, there's more. There's more to learn there.
Dude, quickly touching on Mirage being delayed until 2024, possibly, right?
Oh, I know.
So there, we won't have an Assassin's Creed title this year. Think about that. We're
Mm.
actually getting a year off. I'm like, huh. So they're
Will
gonna
they?
try
I
Valhalla.
wonder if they'll space that and give us a complete year off, or if they really will try and kind of push it out the door as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think just readdress, take all the time you need.
Yeah. Before we get going on the next topic, Scott, two more things I want to ask. What are your thoughts about teleporting through the ceiling?
Oh, it takes away a lot of the climb,
Yeah.
which was very frustrating, but also a point of triumph when you finally climb that mountain. It's not like Skyrim. You can't just turn around and jump backwards up the hill. There's a Skyrim hack for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually works in any Elder Scrolls game, or rather, any Bethesda game.
Ah, interesting. I didn't know that. That is funny. Lastly, is this game of the year?
Oh, it's a very strong contender, I think. I think because of the kind of commercial appeal, the kind of general audience this can pull, I think it stands a very good chance.
I think so, right? Over, say, like Starfield. You think it can pull?
Starfield is, yeah, it's going to have more of that mature slant, which is going to push a large percentage of voters out of the pool.
Yeah, and then if you're thinking on PlayStation side, you're going Spider-Man 2, which has a big, massive pull itself, right? Dude, it's gonna be so
Again,
interesting to see.
One of the most recognizable characters of all time.
Spider-Man. Everybody knows Spider-Man. Dude, it's I can't wait to see Game of the Year awards, or just the Game Awards this year alone, because we have for the first time almost what feels like in forever, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation all swinging for the top. And that's exciting to me. It's very, very exciting to see. But time will tell. Scott, speaking of time, Nintendo has extended the deadline to redeem Wii U and 3DS eShop game codes. Chris Scullion over VGC. The company closed down the Wii U and 3DS shops on Monday, meaning it's now impossible to buy digital games on either system. However, a new tweet from Nintendo's official Japanese customer service account has announced a final grace period for players who still have outstanding eShop game or DLC codes to redeem. According to Nintendo, the ability to redeem game codes stopped 9 hours earlier than planned, so it's extended the deadline to make up for it. Quote, sales of products, download software, additional content, tickets, and in-game items at the Nintendo eShop Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo Wii U eShop extended at 9 a.m. today, the tweet reads. Thank you very much for your long patronage. Scott, who still plays on these systems, man?
Yeah, I really have wondered. I had to dig out my Wii U tablet and get a new charger and everything in advance for this going offline, but I didn't make the best of it. But it still took a little bit of digging. My 3DS, that was one that I found while I was moving, and I was so happy about that. But otherwise, is there really people still holding on to it? Your Vita's in a safe place.
Dude, my Vita's right beside me. I can grab it right now if I need to, right?
It's an intruder defense Vita.
It's to ward people off. Rest in peace, Vita. There's a few of us still left on Vita Island, but
You know what happened to this king, eh?
That's right. The person I see covering this the most, honestly, is Spinny McG over in our Discord.
Yeah.
Hit him up. Check out his YouTube channel, his Instagram page. Spinny is out there always talking about his Wii U and other Nintendo products. He's quite the family guy, and I love it. So it's cool to see him charge on with that. But yeah,
and the king, he's an absolute king of thumbnails. I have to point it out every time.
He's very good.
Kills the thumbnail game.
Yeah, he does. He should work for us. Dude, it's one of those things. And as time goes on, these things just can't last forever, right? And we're moving on to now generations beyond. And as you have to think at some point that we're going to get a new Switch of some sort. So how far do you keep the online service going for all these older generational consoles that people aren't necessarily still playing on? I'm sure there's still a couple people there lingering around, but at the most part, like, everybody's starting to transition over, right? And the Switch itself has been so successful that, well, the Wii U just didn't hit well at all. So
no, the Wii U just really didn't make it out of the gate.
No, but now the Switch has changed things.
I hope that this idea, everybody gets really upset when things go offline forever, and that makes sense a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. But I hope that this kind of brings a lot of these games forward in backwards compatibility ways. Of course, I'm unable to plug my 3DS cartridge into my Switch. I understand there's technical limitations there, but
sure.
Why do I? Oh, now I'm looking at the Switch. Why do I have to buy a subscription service to get all these older games? Why can't I just buy Bounty Hunter on my Switch? Star Wars Bounty Hunter out there, everybody. One of the best games on GameCube.
It's like Nintendo's been around for so long. They have such a lineage of titles that it's hard just to see some of these just disappear completely, right? But what do you do? Because Nintendo is always iterating. Dude, let's like PlayStation goes PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, now we're at 5. And typically, most of it has really kind of stayed the same. Where Nintendo themselves have gone 3DS, the Wii U, this whole new platform, the Switch, whole new platform again. Like, it's hard to keep transitioning. Even the Wii with those, man, like everything for Nintendo is just so different from the last. It's hard to then, how do you keep that so it works on the current gen system? Because it was meant for that time period of Nintendo with whatever control scheme they had going on at the time, right? So for them, it's a lot harder. Where you take a look at PlayStation, well, sprites we can somewhat port over, and all these other mechanics that can make them emulate on current gen or in the cloud or whatever. It seems a lot easier because at the end of the day, their controller, it's iterated over the years, but not to the extent where Nintendo has been, right?
Yeah, Nintendo rolls the dice entirely on each iteration of a controller.
Yeah,
PlayStation, they did bring the Move controllers forward, but they also replaced those when the time came.
Get those out of here, Scott. Nobody wants those damn Move controllers. I'm so sick of those things. I was so happy to see the PSVR 2 switch away from that. But yes, we have dedicated controllers. Not this, hey, let's try these things. Oh,
it looks like a ping pong ball at the end of it.
It's exactly what it was, dude. It felt it was bad. Speaking of bad, let's talk about E3 some more, Scott. Because now Sega and Tencent have confirmed they won't be attending E3 either. Oh man, what is left in this showcase, Scott?
I think E3 is going to run at quarter lighting, and they'll get away with it just fine.
That hurts, right? This is Tom Ivan over at VGC. After Ubisoft announced on Monday that it had backtracked on plans to attend, man, just nobody's here, Scott. What are we doing with E3? I can't help it, man. But let's get back into it. On Monday, as they announced, they backtracked on plans to attend the revamped convention in June. Sega and Tencent.
you date yourself every time you say that.
I gotta do it. It's just old school. That's how I feel.
Sega
have also said they don't plan to participate in an official capacity. Quote, after careful consideration, we have decided not to participate in E3 2023 as an exhibitor, end quote. Sonic publisher Sega told IGN. Quote, we look forward to sharing more information on announced and unannounced projects in the future, end quote. Scott, that was my PR speak. Now, let's go. Like, dude, here we go again. Another one gone, right? A Tencent spokesperson also reportedly confirmed that its games publishing division Level Infinite won't be attending E3 as well. There's another one. Dude, Ubisoft, Tencent, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, nobody's there, buddy.
Yeah, who does that who does that leave?
Indies.
Nobody. Embracer Group? No.
No. Like, honestly, here's the Embracer Group. Just they can do their own showcase. They have so many games. This is the thing we keep seeing, right? Is that all these companies now keep converting over and doing their own thing. That it's just not necessary for anybody to do anything else, to go to these conferences, to pay out all this money, put up a booth, all this stuff. They just go, nah, we're just gonna do our own showcase and call it a day. It's crazy. Disappointing.
No, it's a drag.
I see.
Well, if there's
Go ahead.
is there anybody going to be at E3, or does this just become, and I'm thinking of it more this way, a celebration of life for E3?
Right? No, exactly. Nah. Oh,
I know if I went there, that's the attitude I'd bring in a positive way if I were there.
That's fair, right? But at the end of the day, E3 is just not what it once was, and E3 moving forward never will be. I was in conversation yesterday with Steve Egvar and a bunch of us on the internet.
Oh, you were? I thought.
Yeah. Right? And
I was curious.
It's just not there, man. It's just not what it once was. But Scott, what it is.
Weekend at Bernie's if it comes back too long.
We'll just tie up their arms. Dude, we got a couple game announcements and releases today. What do we have, my friend?
We have an announcement for Forspoken.
Yes!
In Tanta We Trust. Story DLC will serve as a prequel to the main game and takes place 25 years prior to the events of Forspoken. Continuing her search for a way to eradicate the break from Athia once and for all, Frey finds herself following a mysterious voice that leads her to a place that somehow transports her to the Purge of the Red Egg, the legendary battle that devastated Athia and eventually drove the Tantas to madness, accompanied by Tanta Xinta. And a new set of magical abilities, Frey must uncover the answers and save Athia once more and attempt to save herself.
It's very
After
cool.
all the discord surrounding Forspoken, I want to get my hands on this one.
Dude, I had a good time. I thought it was a solid game. I know it didn't hit with everybody, but I had a great time playing it. There are definitely a couple misses in there, and I wonder if they address that moving into this DLC. Launches in May 26th. I forgot to add that in there, so my bad. But yeah, it's cool. Dude, I'm excited to jump back in. I kind of missed playing in that world and the combos and things I was pulling off. There's a lot going on in that world, so...
Well, that was cool. One of those very split opinion, and whenever that happens, I find I take a strong opinion one way or the other. So I'm curious to check that out. But we also have Season 3 of The Cycle, Frontier, has begun now. That is The Cycle is available on Steam and Epic Game Store. Run Bean Galactic comes out on PS4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and Switch. Gripper is released on PC and Switch. Smallland Survive the Wilds has released in early access now on the PC.
Make sure
Pirates
to
Outlaws.
One, Scott? That's a
Yes, we did. We did drop a review on that one. If you are curious, I would recommend checking that out. I had a fun time. I'll say that.
Cool.
We also have Pirates Outlaws has received a console release now. It's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Switch. Metal Hellsinger Dream of the Beast has released, and that features Christina Scabia from Lacuna Coil and Will Ramos from Lorna Shore. Those names won't mean much to you, Drew, but these are absolute rock stars in the rock star scene. To see them join Metal Hellsinger, I'm going back.
Nice. There you go. Dude, that was cool. It's nice to see some of these things go on. Every time I see The Cycle, man, I'm just like, I gotta jump back in, Scott. You gonna join me? Would you just do it?
I want to. I think it was me that was trying to get you on it.
Yeah, I keep trying to get back in there. I'm pulled away. Predecessors kind of got my PC time. It's one of those things. But dude,
we're all hooked on something now.
Speaking of time, our time is up, Scott. That has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, you can join us live every day, Monday to Friday at noon over on Twitch and YouTube at the official ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services, TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.